What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego back with some more boxing. So, Merry Christmas. I want to start off by saying that hope each and every one of you guys have a Merry Christmas and enjoy some festive time with the family. Most of you guys, unless you guys have specific jobs, you're going to be off from work. Everything's going to be closed. So, go see Ronin 47 or watch some Christmas movies with your family. Now, I want to talk about a fight, a potential fight that's in the works, in the negotiation room right now as we speak. That's Miguel Cotto versus Sergio Martinez. They're trying to make this fight for June 7th. Miguel stated that he's going to pass up on the $10 million offer from Golden Boy to fight Canelo. And I told you in a previous video, it makes sense from a business perspective, from Miguel Cotto's standpoint. Like I said before, if Miguel Cotto were to face Canelo and lose, then who's going to want to see him move up an additional 6 pounds from 154 to 160 or at a catch weight or whatever to fight Sergio Martinez? It doesn't really make sense. However, if Miguel Cotto fights Sergio Martinez first, he can in essence double dip. He can fight Sergio Martinez, win, lose, or draw. It's still a positive for him. Obviously, if he wins, that makes perfect sense of why it would benefit him, because he'd be the first Puerto Rican in history to have won titles in 4 different weight divisions. And if he loses to Sergio Martinez at 160, people could just be like, oh, he wasn't that big at 154. He went against an elite level fighter like Sergio Martinez at a higher weight, so he was out of his element. So he tried, and he can go back down to 154 unless something happens in that fight where he just was permanently scarred from it. But it only works one way. You can fight Sergio, win. That's obviously huge for your career. Or if you lose, you can still drop back down to 154 and give it a go. However, if you lose to Canelo, then you're pretty much stuck. No one's going to want to see you move up to face a tricky southpaw who's slept people like Paul Williams and beat the hell out of Chavez Jr. for 11 and a half rounds. It doesn't work one way. But this way, like I said, Cotto can double dip. He can fight Sergio Martinez, have the outcome of that fight, and still fight Canelo in the future. And I think that's what he's gearing towards. One thing I will say, Cotto has taken his career, he's taken the bull by the horns, and really dominated and steered his career in his direction. Like Floyd Mayweather, he fights when he wants. He has a working relationship with Golden Boy as well as Top Rank, and he's pretty much like a free agent. He can do anything he wants. He's not confined. It's like an artist who's a unsigned but has a big name. He can get on whoever's album and still be good. So Cotto, in that regard, can play both sides of the fence, which is good for him. Unlike Pacquiao, which I'll make a separate video about, I think Pacquiao has been more of a puppet. I think he's too nice. He hasn't really taken his career by the horns, and he has people who handle his career and oftentimes mismanage, in my opinion. Like I said, I'll do a separate video about why I feel that way as far as Pacquiao. But Pacquiao, he's in like a shithole right now. Pacquiao owes the Philippine government. They're saying he owes $18 million to the U.S. government. He's trying to get the Mayweather payday after, and it doesn't look like Floyd's doing bad without him, at least financially. So who knows if that fight will ever happen. But back to this video and back to Miguel Cotto. I really like how Cotto's a boss. He knows what he wants, and he stands for it. So he's saying that he wants to fight on June 7th, like picking a date like Mayweather, fight at Madison Square Garden, nowhere else. He says he's open to fight Sergio Martinez. They laid out the offer, but he doesn't want to have it anywhere else but Madison Square Garden. As you guys know, Miguel Cotto, based on the picture that I made for you guys, if you can't tell, he's Puerto Rican. And there's a lot of Puerto Ricans that reside in New York, Madison Square Garden in New York. So this is basically Cotto's second home. A lot of people of Puerto Rican or Dominican, Cuban descent in those areas like Miami's and New York's and stuff like that. So Cotto knows what he wants. He says he wants to fight at Madison Square Garden. Bob Arum's, like always, trying to establish the fight at another venue, possibly the MetLife Stadium, trying to make it big. Cotto has his mind set on Madison Square Garden. And ultimately, if Bob Arum wants that cheddar, I think he has to go with Miguel Cotto's demands because Sergio Martinez, hell of a fighter, but ultimately he doesn't have the drawing power and the star power that Miguel Cotto has. He has never, that I remember, really been the headline of a pay-per-view minus the Chavez Jr. And realistically, Chavez Jr. had a bigger fan base. That's why they were able to do that. I believe in September during Mexican Independence Day, Sergio Martinez being from Argentina. And I think Miguel Cotto is the bigger star. I'm not comparing fighting styles or who will win or anything like that. But based solely on star power, I think Miguel Cotto is basically calling the shots. He has different options that he can pursue. If this doesn't work out, he can go back to Golden Boy and try to get a fight with Carlos Molina, try to get a belt at 54. He has other options. People flock to see Miguel Cotto. He's a staple in the sport, and it showed. He fought Delvin Rodriguez in his last fight, ran through him, and he had a good turnout. There's a lot of people who were still vested and paying attention to what Cotto was doing. This was called Cotto Reloaded or some shit. And Delvin Rodriguez is not a big name in the sport. Not taking anything away from him. He's just not the big of a draw. Like, a lot of people don't know who he is. So most of the fans were obviously for Cotto. So he's basically a boss, set his requirements, what he wants. Sergio Martinez, I think it's a hell of a fight. I think it's a very risky and dangerous fight for Miguel Cotto, who, in my opinion, I think he should try to make 147. 154 seems a little bit out of his element. He doesn't look as good at 54 to me as he did in some of the lower weight divisions. So moving up again to fight Sergio Martinez at 160, really don't know how that's going to look. If you think about it, Austin Trout gave him severe problems and beat him. He beat Miguel Cotto. Austin Trout is a southpaw who's pretty slippery, but he can be beat. And Austin Trout showed that he could be beat when he lost to Canelo, who looked good in his fight. And then Erislandy Lara beat him in a dominant performance. So Miguel Cotto also lost to Austin Trout, and they say styles make fight. Now, you think about it, Austin Trout, southpaw, tricky, crafty, athletic. What is Sergio Martinez? All those things, plus more experienced at a pro level, even though he started boxing late at age 21 when he was playing soccer in Argentina. But Sergio Martinez can crack way harder than Austin Trout. And Sergio Martinez has been known to take on big punchers like Kelly Pavlik or guys that are just naturally bigger than him. Chavez Jr., Martin Murray looks naturally bigger. So a guy like Miguel Cotto, who doesn't necessarily feel 154. Like, look at the guys at 154. Look at a Kirkland. Look at a K9 Bundridge. Look at Canelo. Those guys just look like they have a bigger frame, more body mass than Miguel Cotto. So I don't know if Cotto is overextending himself, but it should be a great fight if he can beat Sergio Martinez. That does wonders for his resume, and I think it's a mega fight. I think a lot of people will turn out to see this. Sergio Martinez is a likable fighter who's looked like he's slipping somewhat in the recent memories, just getting injuries and stuff like that in his last couple fights. So if Cotto can beat Sergio Martinez, I think Sergio Martinez is ripe for the picking, if at all possible, because Sergio hasn't looked as good. But then again, like I said, he hasn't looked as good against guys that are naturally bigger than him, not Miguel Cotto, who isn't naturally bigger than him. But either way, should be a great fight. I would definitely pay money to see this one. Hopefully they stack the undercards, get some, I don't know, some Puerto Rican prospects and some other top-ranked fights or DeBella fighters that are going to make some noise. Stack that on the undercard, and then we have ourselves a show. So props to Cotto, props to Sergio Martinez. Martinez said fighting at Madison Square Garden would be like a dream come true to him. He's ready. Miguel Cotto's ready. They're just going through the motions and trying to get this set in stone. So as of right now, not set in stone, but both fighters want it, and they're just doing the paperwork. And I guess we can see the Canelo fight at a later date. So let me know what you guys want to see. Do you want to see Sergio Martinez versus Cotto? Do you want to see Cotto stick around and have some tune-up fights? Do you want to see him fight Canelo? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.